Hey guys, how are you all doing? Welcome to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Naruto x Ariga Discordia x Hachishaku-sama, part 3. So before we start, go check out the author of this fanfic, Zero Rashi Uchiha, subscribe if you enjoy the video, let's start the story. At Celestine's temple, the high elf reborn goddess woke up from a terrible nightmare. What she saw in her dream was a 8-foot dark elf who looks just like Ariga, but actually is the 8-foot dark elf. She seen Ariga in her dream returning very different and had her eyes set on turning women into dark elves and possibly destroy Iascha after she's finished, but in this dream Ariga brought an army. Then challenged Volt and killed all of his black dogs and him. She even has a boy with her with blonde hair and whisker marks on his face. And what did he have to do with all this? But what frightened Celestine more was Ariga was going to turn her into a dark elf. Of course. Ariga is plotting on turning women into pure-blooded dark elves like she is, because Ariga and Chloe were the least decent dark elves left and were near extinction. Volt recently took over Ariga's dark fortress and killed the very last few dark elves that were there, but some managed to escape and are now in hiding from Volt. Was her dream telling her that this was a vision she saw and it's warning her that Ariga would return? She needs to contact her allies immediately and be prepared for Ariga's return. She needed help right now. Her and her princess knights are struggling against Volt and his black dogs, along with remnants of Ariga's monsters. She didn't know who Ariga would attack first, either her and the princess knights or Volt and his black dogs, but for some reason she had a feeling Ariga would attack Volt first, then her and her friends. She has to contact the anti-demon Kunoichis and help Knight Ingrid, then contact Princess Nina and a few other high elves like her to form an alliance to stop this Armageddon of Ariga's return. She wondered if she could seek out the Thalmor Empire to assist her. Getting up out of her bed, she decided to message a few allies before Armageddon arises. In Wave 2 days after Gato's fall. Indeed, it has been 2 days after Gate's defeat, as the people of Wave hailed their new hero Uzumaki Shredder, along with his wife Chloe and Ripper the Indoraptor. Itachi has finally returned with the ship, as Tazuna promised that he would call the bridge the Great Uzumaki Shredder Bridge, along with building a memorial statue of Uzumaki Shredder, flanked by Chloe and Ripper. Itachi praises his student for completing the mission, as Chloe, Ripper, and Shredder were at the dock seeing the people of the Wave wave their hands telling them goodbye and hopefully return. Before they left, Itachi placed a Uzumaki banner flag in Wave, meaning that Wave is under their protection and has become Uzumaki Shredder's territory. Now on their ship sailing back to home. Meanwhile in Yuzu. Taking a royal bath in her shared chambers, she is washing her hair and rubbing her body while relaxing in the warm water as she sat down, closing her eyes, going into her mindscape. "Popo, it has been a while," Ariga-chan said, Hachishaku-sama, looking at her fused partner. "It sure has, Hachishaku-sama. I trust you're aware of what I'm planning, right?" The Dark Elf Fusion asked, seeing her 8-foot fusion partner nod. "Of course. It's a brilliant idea. I may have given you the power to convert anyone into yokais of your choice, but if you turn them into dark elves, I'll be looking forward to that," Hachishaku-sama said within Ariga-shaku-sama's mind. The knock on the door interrupted her thoughts and private conversation with her yokai tenant. "Your Highness," Itachi-san along with Chloe and Uzumaki Shredder has returned, said Naiko Robin, who is Ariga-shaku-sama's handmaiden. Ariga-shaku-sama smiled as she answered. "I will be right there," she said with a smile. "Popo. Time to see our Naru-kun," Hachishaku-sama said happily. Yuzu throne room. Uzumaki Shredder, along with Chloe, Ripper, Itachi, Zabuza and Haku are now in the throne room. Taniade and Shizune had also appeared, seeing the beautiful dark elf named Chloe, who was holding on to a masked warrior. Taniade on the other hand stared hard, trying to see that Naruto was under that mask. Zabuza and Haku looked surprised at seeing the legendary Taniade Senju here, as Ariga-shaku-sama made her appearance in the throne room. "Naru-kun," she said, running to him as she hugged him tight with his face covered in her upace. Taniade instantly widened her eyes as she saw the masked warrior unmask himself, revealing himself to be Naruto. She couldn't believe it was actually him. It was her godson. Zabuza widened his eyes in shock that this kid was the Uzumaki Shredder. And not only that, but this tall dark elf queen is also his wife. Haku could only blush looking at Naruto. He looked so handsome. "It's good seeing you too, Ariga-chan," he said as she pulled away from her hug, smiling at him as she turned her attention towards Zabuza and Haku. "Welcome to Yuzu. I am Ariga-shaku-sama, Queen of Yuzu. You've already met Naru-kun, he is the king of Yuzu." She was introduced to Hachishaku-sama, talking in her mindscape. Those two could be perfect yokai material. Turn Zabuza into a Oni demon, and the girl Haku, I can sense that she has a ice affinity. She could be Yukiana, Hachishaku-sama said with Ariga-shaku-sama nodding. "Now that you two are here, Itachi, rally our new ranks of our inner circle. We're going to host a meeting," said Ariga-shaku-sama with Itachi nodding. "What's the meeting going to be about, Ariga-chan?" Naruto asked. We're going on a quest in a week, we have to prepare first for the quest, she answered, stroking her scepter. What kind of quest, my lady? Asked Chloe this time. We're going to make a visit to our old home, Chloe Irigashaku-sama said, shocking the dark elf woman. The Ostja Volt's dark fortress. Volt, leader of the Black Dogs, still moving forward with his plan by taking down each of the princess knights one by one, then leaving Celestine for last. Now heading down to Ariga's bedroom, which was his now, grinning that his plan will be successful, but he still wasn't happy with finding Ariga and Chloe. He had his men look all over the nation for those two. Just where the hell are they? He wasn't sure how he was going to explain this to Kuryu, Oboro, Kyle and the others, but he knew for sure those two dark elves would show up. Now turning to the picture portrait of Ariga in her room, he grinned with lust. He couldn't wait to make her his bitch. His smile faded and was replaced with slight fear when he saw the picture's facial expression changed into a scary expression that sent a chill down his spine. He hoped he wasn't seeing things, or was his mind playing tricks on him that he didn't see the picture send him a deathly scary expression. It's just a picture, he said, looking away from going to bed. Had he looked at the picture long enough, he would have seen the picture of Ariga flash a deadly smile that meant death. Meanwhile, in the Hokage Tower, Kakashi had explained that the mission for Wave has become a failure, as his Hokage glared at him for not protecting the bridge builder's family, who was close to being raped by Gato's thugs. But then Kakashi explained about the mysterious Uzumaki Shredder, who is now a hero to Wave, which caught Hiruzen's attention about the Uzumaki Shredder. Last he checked, most of the Uzumakis were all wiped out. Ursum, who survived the purge, had gone into hiding. Did you get a good look at Kakashi's face, Kakashi? Asked Hiruzen, looking at the Cyclops Jonin. No, Hokage-sama, he was completely masked. He managed to convince Abusa Mamichi and his accomplice to join him. The Shredder wasn't alone, he was accompanied by a dark elf woman and a black lizard from what I know. He killed Gato and his thugs with a shadow army I can't describe. Kakashi explained to his leader as he saw the old Cage frown, holding his hands together in thought. Is that all, Kakashi? He asked, seeing the man nod his head. Very well, it seems we need to know who this Uzumaki Shredder is and find out where he is. You are free to leave, Kakashi, but just for not protecting the bridge builder's family, you receive no pay starting tomorrow. You and your team will be stuck on D-ranked missions, Hiruzen said, seeing Kakashi look down at it, then nodded as he left the office. With a heavy sigh, he rubbed his old temples as he thought about this Uzumaki Shredder and wanted to know of his identity and who was the dark elf woman he was with. He wondered if Jiraiya had any luck in finding Naruto yet. He hoped his student at least had some news of finding Naruto yet. Meanwhile, in Yuzu, in the council chamber where Irigashaku-sama is having her meeting with her husband, Chloe, Itachi, and the inner circle of Yuzu's military. Zabuza had been recently turned into a Yokai general, and indeed a demon Oni. Haku was the same way, she's a Yokai general too, and has become the Yukiana entity, having long black hair and yellow piercing eyes, as her skin had become pale and cold as ice, as she was wearing a winter yukata kimono. Tanaade and Shizune are included in the meeting along with Nico Robin. Thank you all for coming to this meeting. Now that your king is here, we have a mission to accomplish, but before that, why don't all of you introduce yourselves to your king, who is your savior, who goes by Uzumaki Shredder, said Irigashaku-sama, as all turned towards the Uzumaki boy, who could only smile at their reactions that he was Uzumaki Shredder. Nico Robin blushed seeing the boy. As is indebted to him and will serve him. Greetings, guests of my country, I am your king. Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, Naruto introduced, while Tanaade looked proud seeing her godson. My, he looks just like Minato, I even see a bit of Kushina into him, she thought, smiling. Yujito and Fu could only blush looking at Naruto. He's handsome, thought Yujito with a blush on her face. My, he looks awesome and cute. Though Fu had the same look as Yujito. Greetings, your majesty. Hanzo Hasashi, Scorpion at your service. Scorpion introduced. Grandmaster Sub-Zero. Leader of the Lin Kuei clan, said Sub-Zero, looking at the young boy. Pleasure meeting you, Mr. Uzumaki, I am Scarecrow. Scarecrow introduced. Reptile is my name, my lord. Reptile introduced. Pretty much everyone who was former slaves had been introducing themselves to Naruto and are very indebted to him and are fiercely loyal to the boy. Now that you've all introduced yourselves, time to discuss this quest we are going to. As you all know, me and Chloe are the last two dark elves in existence, and we are not from this world, we are from a different world. My race is close to extinction, and what drew me here is to look at Naruto-kun here. I planned on taking him with me, but unfortunately I was encountered by a urban legend named Hachishaku-sama. We fought to see who gets to take Naruto. I thought I had defeated her, but I was not prepared for what she was going to do. She attempted to possess me, but because of my will and the dark magic, it caused a chain reaction. Her spirit is sealed inside me, in other words, we fused. We fuse together, and we are stuck like that forever, seeing that I have become stronger and more powerful by having Hachishaka-sama's abilities and her physical form. Our souls merged together, which bonded us, and we came up with a plan to restore not only my Dark Elves, but Naruto's clan as well. Me and my faithful servant Chloe are his wives, but he is allowed to have more than one woman in his life to revive both our races. Arigashaku-sama explained, with everyone whispering and murmured as Shizune spoke. Lady Arigashaku-sama, how can you revive the Dark Elf race if it's just the two of you? Shizune asked, curious to know. That's the point of my mission. I have researched a Dark Elf ritual by turning human females into pure-blooded Dark Elves, which is why we must go to my old homeworld called Eostia and find the missing ingredients I need for the ritual to begin. Who all wishes to come join me on this quest? She asked, looking at everyone. She already knew Naruto would like to come, so did Chloe. I will accompany you, offered Zenaku. I would like to join too. I wish to test out my new fear toxin, Scarecrow said, raising his hand. Me, Sub-Zero, and Reptile will accompany you, your highness, spoken Scorpion. I'd like to come too, you would need a medic, said Shizune with Tanaade looking towards her. Heh, I'd like to join in on the fun, would you say, Haku? Said Zabuza with Haku nodding. I can be of some help too, offered Nico Robin. I'll stay, the hospital needs to be watched, said Tanaade. Well, in that case, Tanaade, you will be in charge while we are gone. Arigashaku-sama said, turning her attention towards everyone. We leave for Eostia in a week, be prepared. This meeting is dismissed, Arigashaku-sama said, with everyone now nodding their heads, leaving the council chambers. As she grinned now, she teleported, heading down to the blacksmith area. How's my armor, Hadvar? She asked the blacksmith. It's nearly finished, my lady, it will be done by tomorrow, he said, clanging his hammer on her dark steel armor. Excellent, she said, smiling. But Naruto? Currently in his bedroom, well, his old bedroom since he moved in with Arigashaku-sama, sharing the Yuzu Daimyo master bedroom. Now looking at the summoning contract for Xenomerse, he signed the contract with his blood as he was instantly teleported to their summoning realm. Xenomerse Hive Realm. Now appearing in a resin-made-like cave and tunnel, he looked around. He walked straight down the tunnel which led to the nesting ground as he saw countless Xenomorph eggs, along with Xenomorphs who hissed at him. As they screeched, one Xenomorph landed in front of Naruto, hissing and growling slightly as it popped out its blades from its wrists, its mouth drooling with acid. As it hissed at Naruto. Who are you? It said, using telepathy to speak. I am Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, Naruto said, not even fazed by the Xenomorphs that surrounded him. Uzumaki, are you related to our old summoner? It demanded, as Naruto nodded. Back away. He is no threat to us. Come, I will take you to the queen, she will be very delighted to see a new summoner. That's Uzumaki, it said, as all Xenomorphs backed away, letting them pass, as the Xenomorph with blades was leading Naruto to the queen's lair. The queen herself looked up from her position, seeing her general bring in a blonde human boy, as she hissed slightly. Eviscerator, who is this? She asked, hissing slightly. My queen, he is an Uzumaki, as he claims, Eviscerator replied back with his mind, as she hissed loudly. I will be the judge of that. She said, leaping down off her resin-made nest, towering over Naruto, who didn't seem fazed by her so close to him, as she sniffed at him and walked around him. He truly is Uzumaki, I can smell his blood, finally another worthy Uzumaki summoner that will summon us at will. She said with her mind in a hiss. Tell me your name, future summoner, she asked, looking down upon him. I am Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, I come in peace, and I request to be your summoner. Naruto asked calmly, looking at the queen while the other Xenomorphs watched. Well, Uzumaki Naruto, if you wish to be our worthy summoner, you must face my Xenomorph general and champion, Eviscerator. Said the queen, as Eviscerator popped out his blades out his wrists, as the Xenomorphs hissed and roared in approval for their champion. Eviscerator is a master of disembowelment and very acidic, born with the Tarkatan blood and genes. He inherited their traits by having their blades. He is my strongest champion. The queen boasted as Naruto looked at Eviscerator. The Xenomorphs all spaced out, giving the two space to fight. Let's see how worthy you are of summoning us. Eviscerator said, lunging at Naruto with his blades, as they were imbued with acid. Naruto dodged a few of Eviscerator's blade swipes, as he screeched, attempting to stab Naruto with his tail that's coated in acid, as Naruto dodged it with a duck, as he did a sweep kick to knock down Eviscerator off his feet. Naruto backflipped as he stood on his feet, activating his right wrist blade, as the Xenomorphs all hissed that he possesses their mortal enemies, weapons that are used to kill them. It matters little if you have our enemies' toys. Because I'll defeat you. Acid sting. Eviscerator said with the tip of his tail stinger, sprayed acid at Naruto, who was lucky to avoid it in time, as he charged towards Eviscerator and kicked the alien's jaw and punched his rib cage, sending him flying. Eviscerator got back up and snarled as he sprayed more acid at Naruto, who evaded it. Was then Naruto quickly did the shadow clone jutsu as two clones lunged at Eviscerator, who grinned as he lunged his tail forward and impales one clone, making poof out of existence as the other one got impaled by Eviscerator's blades. Pathetic. He roared, only to look surprised that Naruto poofed in smoke, revealing it was a clone. He quickly turned around as he was quickly impaled by Naruto's wrist blades. How? He roared, looking at his opponent. Simple. Well, you were fighting my clones. As a distraction I used my cloaking device and took you by surprise, Naruto said, pulling his blades out of Eviscerator as the Xenomorphs hissed that their champion lost. Even the queen looked shocked. Finish me, Eviscerator said, waiting to accept his death. No, why would I kill a worthy partner who would fight alongside me, Naruto said, using a bit of his dark restoration magic. Arigashaku-sama taught him to heal Eviscerator as he looked up at the queen. You've surpassed the test. You are indeed worthy of becoming our summoner. My hive and champion is yours to command. She hissed in approval as all the other Xenomorphs did the same thing. Now returning back. Now in his room, he successfully signed the Xenomorph summoning contract as he walked towards the door, only to see it open, revealing Toneade Senju hugging him. Hello, Neru-kun. My name is Toneade Senju. I am the slug and princess of the Senju clan. I am also your godmother, said Toneade, hugging the boy as he hugged back. It's great meeting you, Toneade-san. He greeted back as he looked into her honey brown eyes that had love and affection. You look so much like your mother and father. They would be proud to see what you are today, she said, seeing him smile as he began telling her his life with Arigashaku-sama and Chloe, as she could only look sadly that she wasn't a part of his life, but now she has a chance to be there for him. For Kushina's sake she will remain at his side and Arigashaku-sama's side. I'm hoping we get to know each other more. Naruto-kun. I'm looking forward to serving your empire, she said, giving the boy a kiss on the forehead, making him blush as she walked off to go to her hospital. Nico Robin, who witnessed the whole scene, could only blush and feel herself get wet from watching as she walked away before anyone could notice. The Ostia. A week later. A large warp portal was opened in the wastelands of Ostia. The first to walk out the portal was Arigashaku-sama in her dark steel armor, holding her mace with her scepter on her back. Following behind her from the portal is Naruto in his Uzumaki shredder armor, armed with his predator gear, and has his Uzumaki clan blade, riding on Ripper's back. Chloe was beside Naruto wearing ebony armor, armed with her Dedrick bow, and ebony arrows with her dagger on her hip, her witch blade still intact on her right wrist. Next to the portal were the Yokai generals, Itachi Uchiha, Zabuza, and Haku in their glory, all lined up. Reptile, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Eviscerator the Acid Tarkatan Xenomorph followed suit, same with Scarecrow, with a supply of his fear toxins wearing his mask, gloved right hand with needles. Shizune and Nico Robin come out the portal ready for battle. Yujito and Fu decided to join in on the fun. Out the portal last came out a giant wolf with porcupine quills. On top of the wolf's head sat Zenaku holding his crescent blade. Arigashaku-sama could only stare straight ahead north, which is where her dark fortress is. What to do now, your majesty? Asked Itachi, who stood beside her. Itachi, I want you to shift into your crow form and head straight north. My castle is there. I want you to inspect if there are any unwanted guests at my former kingdom before we go there. I know there's someone on my throne, Arigashaku-sama commanded as he nodded as he left a shadow clone before turning into his crow from flying off north, heading to her castle. Let's move, she said as all of her party followed Itachi in his crow form. Dark Fortress. Bolt is currently staring at his two right-hand men Hicks and Kin, along with an army of their Black Dog mercenaries, with a large portion of Ariga's monsters that consisted orcs, orges, trolls, imps, and goblins, many other monsters, as well. Volt promised them more women to breed. Listen up. This week, starting today, we will enact our invasion south of Ostia, and we will claim each neighboring kingdom of the Ostia. The princess knights will be all caught and taken as our sex slaves. Celestine will be saved for last. We may have not been able to find Ariga Discordia and her servant, but no matter what, they will turn up and can't hide forever. Today, this week, is the rise of our sex empire. Every woman, regardless of their age, will be having sex with all of us and monsters alike. This land will be no woman's land, said Volt, with all of his men and monsters cheering and chanting for Volt. Nothing will stop us. Assemble all forces and head out, Volt said as his men cheered much more. Hicks informs our spies within the Princess Knight's ranks, Volt commanded as his right-hand man nodded. Unbeknownst to Volt and his cronies, a black crow with Sharingan eyes listened to the whole thing as he transferred his memory to his shadow clone. He left with Arigashaku-sama to inform her and the group. But Arigashaku-sama, her and her group were now in the dead forest, still in the wasteland. They were almost close to her dark fortress as they eyed the castle walls, figuring out what to do, but needed to wait for Itachi. My lady, Itachi's shadow clone said gained her attention along with Chloe and Naruto. Yes. She replied staring at his clone. It seems you do have unwanted guests in your old kingdom. The one who is leading a band of mercenaries calls himself Volt. He has monsters too under his command, his clone said with Arigashaku-sama narrowing her eyes as he told her the plans he was going to do, as everyone felt disgusted at what he planned. Well, in that case it's time to clean house and get rid of the uninvited guests that rest in my kingdom. Arigashaku-sama said giving a nod to Naruto. Begin our assault. Naruto yelled out putting on his fox predator mask. Itachi met us at the front gate, we're going to smash our way in, Arigashaku-sama said as she vanished heading for the gates as everyone started heading towards the gates. Glaring up at the gates of her former home, she gripped her mace, cocking it back getting ready to swing the mace at the gates and walls. A white bubble formed around her mace and with one swing the air cracked as the gates and walls were instantly demolished. Mercenaries who were on guard duty were killed as the tremor shook the whole kingdom and small town. Attack! Arigashaku commanded as she summoned all her Shidokins from each tribe to attack as they followed her. Naruto jumped off Ripper and fired his plasma canister at some mercenaries, then swiped his wrist blade at some of them. Ripper jumped on the mercenaries tearing him apart. Chloe fires her arrows at some mercs and monsters. As she activated her witch blade now full of bloodlust, extending her right blade wrist as she gutted a mercenary looking at him in sadistic pleasure before cleaving him in half and went after other mercs. Zanaku swiped his crescent blade beheading and cut apart any monsters. His pet giant Wolfralf spiked up its quills and shot them at incoming trolls and ogres. Scorpion and Sub-Zero were doing a combination of fire and ice at incoming enemies. Reptile spat acid at imps and blasted acid balls at groups of mercs. Vegito, Nai, Fu and Robin stood together fighting off a handful of mercs. Eviscerator swiped his blades in a quick flurry, slicing any in his way and used his Xeno acid sting to kill an orc. Shizune stayed by Arigashaku's side firing her launcher. Scarecrow tossed fear toxin bombs making the mercenaries look at him in fear as Scarecrow summoned his sickle and chain and started killing them. Zabuza created a hidden miss jutsu and hacked and slain a few of his victims. Haku created an ice storm sending whirlwinds of ice and breathing her frost breath at anyone who stood her in the way, freezing them to death. Arigashaku bashed her mace against groups of mercs, imps, trolls, ogres and orcs as she grabbed her scepter aiming it at an armored troll. Avada Kedavra, she casted her killing curse, sending a green light of death at the troll instantly killing him. As Naruto came up beside her, so did Chloe in her witchblade form. Finally Itachi appeared beside her with his katana sword drawn that was coated in black flames as he slain some guards on his way to them. Storm the castle, we will find this Volt Zabuza. Arigashaku-sama called out as he ran to her side. You and the rest kill everyone here. Don't take any prisoners, me, Chloe, Naruto and Itachi will take the castle and just kill the rest of the pests. She commanded with him nodding. Instantly Hicks and a handful of his men came out the castle in shock at what was going on as his eyes fell on Arigashaku and her group. It's you. You're Riga Discordia. The boss has been looking for you. Hicks shouted pointing at her. Has he now? Well, let me offer him a proper greeting before I kill you, Avada Kedavra. She cast a green bolt of death from her scepter at Hicks as his eyes were instantly wide when he got hit by the killing curse and died on the spot. Chloe and Itachi killed the rest of Hicks' men as Ripper appeared beside Naruto as they went inside the castle. Dark Fortress throne room. Volt could only look shocked sitting on his throne with Kin at his side along with some monsters and his men. What the hell is going on? What's attacking us and my kingdom? Volt yelled out grabbing his large two-handed sword. His answer was found when the throne room doors instantly got destroyed as Arigashaku, Naruto, Itachi, Ripper and Chloe made themselves known to Volt. So you're the one named Volt? She demanded with him frowning in confusion. He eyed her for a bit, then seconds later he smiled as he realized who this was. Ah, so the Dark Queen finally returns. Good. Just perfect, and you've brought the half-elf. But who the fuck are those losers? He said with a smirk keeping his attention on Arigashaku who scowled with Chloe looking disgusted at him. I am Uzumaki Shredder Scum. King of Yuzu. This is Itachi Uchiha, my Yakai general, and this raptor is my companion. And these two beautiful dark elves are army wives. Shredder said with Volt scowling at the masked stranger. There sat Volt scowling at the masked stranger who calls himself Uzumaki Shredder and that he has the nerve to call those dark elves his wives. Fuck that. As a smile came across his face. They are your wives. Ha 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 ha. Very funny Shredder, that's the funniest joke I've ever heard. They are nothing, but sluts are good for having sex, cooking, and birthing babies. I have doubts that you can never satisfy them. Volt shot back with his men laughing at Shredder along with the monsters. Is that all you think women are good for? That's where you're wrong, women have rights, and do not use personal things, as you claim, spoke an Uzumaki Shredder, growling a bit at this degenerate. Ha! Kin, are you hearing this? Well, in this land women will be submissive to us men. You should side with us, Shredder. Bimbo Dark Elf only wants to use you for her own gain to reclaim her throne. You and your lackey can be of great help to us from the perfect sex empire. Join us. Spoken Volt, as Itachi scowled deeply at Volt. Uzumaki Shredder was just silently standing there with his blood boiling, and behind his mask, his blue eyes changed red with the eyes of the Kyuubi. Side with you and betray both my wives? Hell no. As if I would do something like that. That would make me less of a man. Uzumaki Shredder roared with Arigashaku-sama smiling, as did Chloe in her witchblade form. Volt however scowled. So you want to be a pawn to those bitches? What a waste, I had such high hopes of you joining us, and I could offer you as many women as you want, but it seems like you will have to die along with your lackey. Take them. Kill both of them, and when we're through with them we will claim the Dark Elf Bimbo and her servant. You guys can have the servant, but I want the Dark Elf Queen. Her tits are fucking huge, and she's very tall and plump. Volt said with a dirty leer at Ariga, as the men cheered with the orcs and ogres wanting a taste of Chloe. Arigashaku-sama wasn't fazed by this, but is furious that these fools would even think of touching her body, if only her husband can truly satisfy her and Chloe. Chloe, on the other hand, in her witchblade form, saw how the orcs and ogres stared at her with lust. She felt unnerved and uncomfortable, putting on a brave face, but that all stops when everyone in the room felt an extremely massive amount of killing intent and bloodlust that it flooded all over the land of Eostia. Celestine, who was in her kingdom, felt that massive bloodlust and could feel it coming from the north. What is going on? Her and her princess knights felt it, and she was scared, though she and her team weren't the only ones who felt it. Asagi Iwaga and her anti-demon Kunoichi squad felt that. Even Ingrid, who is the Helk Knight, felt that much bloodlust. Everyone throughout the lands felt that bloodlust, as if someone pissed off a deity or god. Uzumaki Shredder was seething in absolute rage. Bloodlust. Ripper the Indoraptor got very excited, as he had a sadistic smile. Now what Gato said about Chloe was just anger, but what Volt had said and planned for his wives and every woman out there was 1,000 times more bloodlust and rage compared to his encounter with Gato. Arigashaku-sama stares at her husband. For some reason she felt turned on by seeing him with so much rage, as Chloe herself could feel herself get wet from seeing Shredder enraged. Itachi kept a poker face to hide his slight fear of his student and king. Taking a deep breath to calm down, Uzumaki Shredder glared hard at Volt. Volt himself along with his men and monsters couldn't help but tremble in fear. Why did they fear this masked stranger? In the bottom of Volt's heart he couldn't help but feel a shiver down his spine and almost want to shit himself, but kept up his look of defiance at Uzumaki Shredder. Before he could say or do anything, a sumo-kan appeared and grabbed Volt, tossing him to Uzumaki Shredder's feet. Hin looked alarmed seeing his boss get grabbed. Volt-sama, said his second right-hand man, pulling out his spellbook only for the book to burst in black flames, courtesy of Itachi Uchiha Amaterasu. Before the mage could do anything, Itachi appeared in front of Kin, impaling the man with his sword coated with Amaterasu black flames, as the man burned to ashes. Kin. What's going on? Volt said, as he heard all his men try to save him, even the monsters, but they were blocked by hundreds sumo cons and samurai cons, keeping them away from Volt. I want to personally break you. I want your men to see what you really are. You're just a pathetic old horny dog that deserves to be neutered. A dog that's way past his prime with no real power at all, no matter how hard he tries. You're just a perverted dog that only thinks with his dick instead of thinking with his real head. And you being a sex emperor. How funny. I find it ridiculous, even your plot to rule this land, turning it into a sex empire. That doesn't make you a man, that makes you a righteous asshole, Shredder said with Chloe and Arigashaku-sama laughing. Even Itachi chuckled. Ripper grinned more, as Volt growled in anger that he was being insulted and humiliated in front of all his men. I'll make you regret saying those words, you son of a bitch. Volt growled, getting up, hefting his large sword. Then come at me with everything you got. I probably won't need my weapons to kick your ass, Uzumaki Shredder said, removing his sword, his wrist blades, his plasma canister. What are you doing? Using your bare hands to fight me? Scared Volt glaring at Uzumaki Shredder in hate. All I need is my hands and brute strength to put down a dog like you, Shredder said calmly. Volt already has had enough of being looked down and made a fool of. Volt charges with his sword and attempts to hack and slash Shredder, but Shredder predicted his movements by evading and dodging as he ducked from Volt's sword swipe and channeled chakra into his fists. Before he left his kingdom, Taneade taught him her monster strength. Seeing that Volt left himself open, Uzumaki Shredder landed a chakra charge punch into Volt's stomach that made the man instantly widen his eyes in shock as he spat up blood and whatever he has eaten, as Volt fell on his knees still throwing up as he gagged and looked up at Shredder, who sent a kick to Volt's face, breaking the man's nose as teeth flew out Volt's mouth, making the man roll over in pain as he looked at Uzumaki Shredder, who walked over slowly to him doing nothing. "What's the matter? Scared to get up?" Shredder stomped on Volt's stomach and cracked a few of his ribs, making him scream as Naruto leaned down and punched Volt's face over and over and over again, making the man scream much louder. "Look at you, screaming like a little bitch, do you enjoy pain?" asked Shredder with malice as he kicked Volt again. Volt was flinching and struggling to get up as his face was bruised up, he even lost some teeth, bloody lip and black eye, even his broken nose. "In a fight, two combatants must fight, and you haven't even landed a single blow on me yet," Shredder commented as Volt was seething in rage once again as he hefted his sword going to split Shredder in half with it, but Shredder does something unexpected. He caught Volt's sword with his bare hands and channeled chakra into his hands as Naruto smirked, seeing Volt's shocked expression as he laughed in amusement. "It's so sad and pathetic that you need to overcompensate with your manhood with this dull sword of yours." Shredder snaps the sword in two, surprising Volt's men as the man himself looked horrified with his guard down. Uzumaki Shredder unleashed a fury of punches upon Volt everywhere on the man's body, as Shredder given him a kick to the stomach that sent him flying to the feet of the throne stairs. Before he could try getting up, Shredder pinned him down with his foot as the man looked at him in shock and horror. Shredder Uzumaki chuckled darkly as he pulled the tubes off his mask and removed his mask and helmet, shocking Volt along with his men and monsters that their leader was beaten by a boy. "Who the hell are you?" screamed Volt in outrage that he was humiliated and beaten by a mere boy. "I am Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, also known as the Uzumaki Shredder. Husband to Urigashaku-chan and Chloe-chan, king and heir to the Dark Elf Yuzu Empire and reviver of the Dark Elf race and slayer of scum like you and your dogs, Volt," said Naruto with his foot still on Volt's chest, keeping the man pinned down. "Well, what are you waiting for, you son of a bitch? Kill me." Volt yelled, only to grunt in pain, feeling Naruto press his foot down on his broken ribs. "Not so fast, who said I was going to kill you now? Didn't you hear me? I specially said I was going to break you, not just your body, but also your very mind," Naruto said sadistically as he made a simple signal to his Shadokan to kill the rest of Volt's men. "Please, we beg you to spare us. We were just following the boss's orders," pleaded a black dog Merc, with the rest looking in fear. "Put the dogs down, Itachi and Ripper," Naruto said with coldness in his voice as Ripper instantly pounced on the Mercs, with Itachi slaying them and the monsters with his sword. With that going on, Urigashaku-sama and Chloe made it up on the throne looking down at the beaten Volt. "What are we going to do with him, my love?" said Chloe, still in her Witchblade form. "We're going to simply break him and then interrogate him. The man might have some information that could prove useful to us," Naruto suggested as Urigashaku grinned darkly. Throughout the whole day, the Dark Elf Yuzu Empire has become victorious in reclaiming Uriga's Dark Fortress, now making it their base of operations for the time being. The entire Kuroinu Black Dog mercenaries have been decimated, all except one. Volt is currently held in the dungeon, imprisoned. Dungeon. Volt, now in his cell, just battered up, chained to the wall, angry and furious that all of his plans had failed and that he was bested by a 12-year-old brat. It was impossible. His plan was foolproof and that it was crushed by a boy. His men were all dead, his monsters who were his allies were dead as well, even his two right-hand men Hicks and Kin. Now he had no one to help him, and he was sure that stuck-up scientist Kuryu would never help him and just leave him to his fate. His cell opened, not even bothering to look up to know who it was. It was Urigashaku-sama and Naruto. "So are you ready to tell us what information you're holding back from us?" Naruto said, staring at the man who growled. He huffed. "Alright, still keeping up the bravado. Well, time I put it to Putty, Scorpion. Reptile," Naruto called out as the two appeared. "Yes, your majesty," said Scorpion, glaring at Volt. "Pick his ass," Naruto said with him and Urigashaku leaving Volt's cell, going to watch him suffer. Volt glared at the two and said, "Do your worst, you'll never get me to talk." And with that, Scorpion starting beating the hell out of Volt with his flaming fists, with Reptile spraying acid at the man's face, making the man scream as Volt's face was becoming disfigured due to the acid melting his face as they kept beating him over and over again. "Enough," Naruto commanded, with the two stopping. "We need him alive, I want him to suffer, I want his pride, his mind and body broken," Naruto said, with Urigashaku healing Volt so he doesn't die. "Now are you ready to talk?" Naruto asked again, with Volt spitting in his face. "Fuck you," Volt yelled as Naruto backhanded him. "Talk now," Naruto said coldly, with Volt not answering. My dearest Naruto-kun, I have an idea that will truly break him, Arigashaku said with Naruto leaning towards her as she leaned and whispering in his ear as he bore a dark smirk. Good idea, let's give him a taste of his own medicine. Naruto said, motioning Scorpion and Reptile to leave as Naruto smiled as Arigashaku-sama walked up to him. What are you going to do to me, you bimbo? Volt spat, looking at her as she looked unfazed as she roughly grabbed his banana, squeezing it hard. She pulled out a vial that contained a purple liquid as she forced it down his mouth, making him swallow. What the fuck did you make me drink? I don't feel so good. He said, sweating as Arigashaku stepped back. His vision was getting blurry as darkness took him. 1 hour later. Waking up, he couldn't remember what happened to him last. With his vision getting better, he looked around only to notice he was still in the dungeon as he saw his cell door open, revealing Naruto and Arigashaku same as the two grinned darkly. He scowled as he spoke. You'll pay for, only to freeze in his voice. That didn't sound like him, his voice sounded high-pitched and femme-like. His eyes grew wide in horror. What the hell have you done to me? She demanded. That potion I forced you to drink is a gender change potion. Take a good long look at yourself. Arigashaku-sama said as she conjured a mirror in front of Volt as she looked shocked at what she looked like. While she was passed out, Naruto commanded the Shadow Khans to strip her naked, now staring at her decouple and muscle-toned body along with her glistening. Change me back. I demand you to change me back. Volt screamed as she lashed out in her shackles. Volt-chan, not until you tell us all of your plans, your conspirators and spies tell us, and maybe we can change you back, Naruto said, grinning. Never. She spat with Naruto and Arigashaku grinning even wider. Okay, if you still want to be that way, then so be it. Arigashaku-chan, if you please. Naruto said with her, pointing her scepter at Volt. Imperio. She casted, using the curse, making Volt's eyes dazed and looked lifeless. Naruto undid the shackles as they led Volt to another cell, a large cell area. As he pushed her in there, locking the cell door, Arigashaku-sama dispelled the curse, making Volt now look normal. Where am I? She said, not noticing she wasn't in her cell. She heard something grunt, turning around, widening her eyes in horror. There stood 5 orcs and 6 orges. No. She realizes what was going to happen as she runs to the cell door only to find it locked. Please don't do this. She pleaded, seeing the monsters look at her in lust. Sorry, Volt-chan, but you brought this on yourself, Naruto said with him, and his wife stepped away to enjoy the show, seeing the look of horror and shock on Volt's face. No. Don't come any closer. She screamed as they all grabbed her and dropped her on the ground, surrounding her with their erect. Naruto and Arigashaku grinned as they returned, staring at the ruined Volt. So full in the mighty, too little too late. Let's see, is she willing to talk now? Oh wait, she's like a vegetable now due to her being raped. Let's leave her to the orcs and orges, because this is only the beginning of his downfall, Naruto said with him and Arigashaku leaving the dungeon to have some time for themselves as the orcs and orges dragged Volt and fucked her again in her blank state. The next day. Naruto and Arigashaku-sama returned, staring at the broken and used body of Volt, it seems the orcs, and raped her again. Grinning, Naruto opened the cell and walked up to her. Wakey Volt-chan, are you ready to speak now? Naruto asked, seeing her look at him weakly and broken as she nodded weakly. But now tell us, Naruto said. For an hour and 30 minutes she told them everything and sold out her conspirators, even her spies that are spying on Celestine's knights. She left nothing out as she looked at both of them. Now that I told you everything, will you change me back? She asked, hoping he would let her become normal. Oh right, we did promise to change you back, did we? He said, looking at his wife, who grinned. There is no antidote like this for the rest of your life, Arigashaku-sama stated, with Volt looking at them in horror that she's been tricked. But I told you everything. Change me back. She screamed. Volt-chan, we fooled you. We weren't planning on changing you back, besides Arigashaku-chan can't change you back like this until the day you die. Naruto said, snapping his fingers as the orcs and ogres woke up. She turned around horrified, then turned back to the two, who smirked as she gave them a vengeful look. You may think you have won. But you will never defeat Kuryu. Oboro. Kyle, King Dorm, you won't be able to beat the rest. They will finish what I started. Don't get too comfortable, I will be avenged. She said as the orcs and orges grabbed her and pulled her away as they started to rape her again. Don't worry, because we will win, because in the next few days or months you will be nothing but a slut to the orcs and ogres with your mind and body broken. You ruined many other women's lives because of your sick rape, but now we return the favor to you by having your own life ruined by being a whore breeding orc or orge babies. Enjoy hell, Volt-chan said Naruto as he and Arigashaku left the dungeons and never coming back to leave Volt in her own version of hell until she's broken. Now with the Dark Fortress as their base of operations for the time being, the Dark Elf Yuzu Empire are recovering and preparing for whatever else they must do. Arigashaku has found the bone of a dark elf from the graveyard, now all she has to do is visit the catacombs and find the soul gem that contains a soul of a dark elf. Now that she was back in her old world, she thought of what could she do next. She does believe she should make a visit to her old enemy Celestine Lucrece. After looking at all of the plans Volt had for her and Chloe along with many other women here including Celestine and her knights, if Arigashaku-sama didn't leave her kingdom because of Naruto, she and Chloe would have been fated as sex slaves and she would have never fused with Hachishaku-sama, which she is eternally grateful for that she chose this path. The part of her wanted Volt to die, but that would have been too easy, but don't worry because she'll make a visit down to the dungeons and force every monster down there in that dungeon to rape her to death or have Scarecrow to use his fear toxins on the woman to drive her insane and lose her sanity while being raped to death. Now she and her husband have bigger fish to fry. Now they needed to prepare for conquering south of Ostia where Celestine and her knights are at, then search for other dark elves who are in hiding, as well check out other kingdoms suitable to become dark elves for her husband. Itachi, she called out as he appeared bowing on one knee. Yes, your majesty? He asked. I want you in your crow form, I want you to head down south of Ostia and spy on Celestine, she lives in a holy kingdom. Arigashaku-sama commanded. As you wish my lady, he said, turned into a crow and flew out the window flying south. So already making some plans and plots for this world too. Hachishaku-sama said within Arigashaku's mind. Of course I am, I'm not leaving my old world until I and Naru-kun conquer Celestine and her knights and maybe find other pure-blooded elves and dark elves and have them join us in a new world. First we take each of the princess knights one by one, leaving Celestine for last and save them from Volt's conspirators, replied Arigashaku-sama in thought. And what will you do to this world once you are finished with everything? Hachishaku-sama asked, waiting for her fusion partner to answer. Well, after I accomplished everything there's no point in returning, I'm just going to destroy it, she replied back in her mind. And the other villains? What happens to them? Hachishaku asks again, already knowing the obvious question. They either die at my hands or Naru-kun's hands. Simple as that, Volt will die soon and he or she will be example for what happens to those he work with, Arigashaku-sama answered. Ho, how fitting to see them receiving the sticky end, Hachishaku-sama said smiling. It will be all too easy, Arigashaku-sama said with a dark grin, heading to the throne room. Elsewhere. So has the mighty fallen. It turns out that Volt has failed me again and his mercenaries have been defeated by Ariga Discordia, who has returned much stronger and powerful than ever, along with a mere boy who has strength, and they have strong forces that could rival our alliance, said a man in a lab coat, pushing up his glasses in annoyance. This man was Kuryu, a scientist who works under Black Sama. Now he knows of Volt's defeat. How? Well, to put it like this, Kuryu had instructed a demon imp loyal to him to keep tabs on Volt, to keep an eye on the man to make sure he does his mission in conquering Celestine and her knights, even Ariga Discordia and Chloe, and inform Kuryu if anything happens. And this was one of them. The man failed him and was defeated by a mere boy, just ludicrous. But no matter, he could get Ariga Discordia and the others. Volt failed to capture him. Never send a mercenary to do a scientist's job. To think I trusted him to get things done. Kiryu thought with a deep sigh as he turned to an archdemon and spoke. You there? He said with the archdemon standing in attention. Go inform my allies. It's time we have a meeting and be prepared for Ariga since she has returned, informing Aboro, Kyle, King Dorm, and the others. Go now. He commanded as the archdemon instantly took off to fulfill his master's command. Get ready to face my wrath, Ariga. Enjoy reclaiming your kingdom for now, but you will never defeat our alliance, Kuryu spoke out, glaring at the picture of the dark elf. Throne room, dark fortress. In the throne room there sat Arigashaku-sama sitting on her throne. She really needs a bigger throne since she's much bigger now, as Naruto sat on her lap with Chloe standing besides them, staring at everyone in the throne room. We may have successfully reclaimed my old fortress and found one of the ingredients that I need. Later on I will find the last ingredient, but I'm afraid we won't be returning home so soon. As you can see, we interrogated Volt, and the man has conspirators and allies, even spies. Our next objective is to conquer the south of Ostia. South of Ostia has 7 princess knights, and one of them is a high elf, and as a goddess we will capture each of their kingdoms and make them our prisoners and take them back with us in our world. I have my Yakai general Itachi Uchiha spying on Celestine and her friends. He will inform us of what he has learned. Any questions? Arigashaku-sama said, as no one said a word. Well, in that case, recuperate for now and be prepared for our next wave of invasion on Celestine and her friends along with other kingdoms. Then we can all go home. Arigashaku-sama finished with everyone nodding. But then you all are dismissed. Eviscerator, how's your new breed of xenomorphs coming along? Asked Arigashaku-sama, seeing the xenomorph slowly and smiled a cruel smile. You see, after the battle of taking back Ariga's old fortress Eviscerator, and a good handful of Xenomorph drones had taken and captured orcs, orges, imps, archdemons, trolls, and some of Volt's men back to their summoning realm, the Hive, to breed new Xenomorphs. They will soon be born from their host soon, he replied back with his mind as he vanished in a puff of smoke to check on the new breed. Ariga Shakusama smiled as Naruto smiled, as well as she got up on her throne carrying Naruto in bridal style with Chloe following her. Now where were they going? Where do you think it is? Her bedroom of course has some love and fun. Now in the Holy Chamber, Celestine is holding a meeting as those that were present were Claudia, Alicia, Prim, Ruuru, Kagaya and Maya, the 7 princess knights of chivalry, all allied together with their leader Celestine. Their allies were the anti-demon Kunoichis, which consisted of Asagi Agawa, the leader of her squad, with Sakura her sister and Murasaki, along with another ally Ingrid the Helk Knight. Another high elf is a princess, and her name is Nina. She was invited in this meeting too, from her friend Celestine, Kachu, who is a princess knight, joined also along with Queen Lena, along with Princess Knight Henrietta, and her brother, along with Helga. They're here to discuss that bloodlust they felt 2 days ago, and Ariga's return. And last, but not least, who arrived was the High Elf Ambassador Lenwyn of the Thalmor and Aldmeri Dominion Empire, flanked by 2 of her Thalmor bodyguards. Thank you all for coming on such short notice. It has come to my attention to warn all of you that Ariga Discordia has returned. Just as I predicted, she has grown much more powerful and stronger than before with powerful allies. Celestine started with many murmuring and having surprised and concerned expressions. Wait a minute, Celestine-sama, I thought you said Ariga died. How is it possible that she's back and very much alive? Questioned Princess Nina. We at first thought she died, but Kagaya and I had a vision that Ariga faked her death and had exiled herself with her maiden Chloe. They have disappeared for years, and now my friends and allies have returned much stronger and have an army. Did all of you feel that massive bloodlust 2 days ago north of Ostia at Ariga's former kingdom? That lets us know she has returned, Celestine said, looking at everyone, murmuring, looking at one another. And what do you suppose we do? Should we stop Ariga Discordia? Spoken Asagi, now with Celestine going silent for a moment. We must form an alliance strong enough to stop her forces and defeat her. I have heard of disturbing news that the Black Dog mercenary gang had been decimated by Ariga and her forces. Celestine had spoken that instantly raised flags in everyone's heads. Volt Sama, Kin, and Hicks are dead, thought Maya, who looked completely shocked that her former boss and old comrades were killed by Ariga. Please my friends, if we unite our kingdoms and nations to put a stop to Ariga, we can defeat her and stop the prophecy of what's coming. Celestine added, with others feeling on edge about a prophecy. Pray tell me, what prophecy do you mean, Celestine-sama? Asked Princess Kachu, this time with Celestine sighing as she prepared to tell the prophecy and their fate of what's coming to them. The destruction of our world and our fate is to be turned into dark elves and being taken against our will by Ariga to bed with a human child, Celestine finished with everyone gasping in horror. No way in hell I'll let that bitch turn me into a dark elf. Scowled Murasaki, with everyone now agreeing to this. Everybody calm down. We still have a chance to prevent the prophecy from happening. All we need to do is unite and band together against Ariga and her forces, then end her. If we work together to stop this, we all will be saved. Who's with me to put an end to Ariga? Celestine had exclaimed. Me and the anti-demon Kunoichis along with Ingrid will be of service to stop this madness, vowed Asagi, with Ingrid being the silent one. Nodded. We will assist you as well, Celestine-sama, said Princess Nina, with Kachu, Queen Lena, and Princess Henrietta agreed. Consider my Thalmor to be of great assistance to you, as well, said Lenwyn, as she was going to contact the Empire to send a mass army of the Thalmor to put an end to this threat. The return of dragons was bad enough, now Dark Elf, who's hell-bent on destroying the world, is a different case. But good, thank you all for coming. This meeting is now dismissed. Return to your kingdoms and gather your forces at once, Celestine said, with everyone nodding, and leave the chambers, just leaving Celestine and Claudia by themselves. Now that we've told everyone, what should we do now, Celestine-sama? Claudia asked, seeing her superior. Gather your army, there's no telling when Ariga will make her move. She said softly, seeing her priestess Kagaya now appeared. What's wrong? Celestine asked, looking at her right-hand priest. We've received word from Princess Knight Lucy, the High Elf, said Kagaya, seeing Celestine look up in hope. What did she say? Is she willing to help us? The High Elf goddess asked. Yes, her and her High Elves are coming in 3 days, replied Kagaya. I hope they get here soon because we need all the help we can get, Celestine said with a sigh. Unbeknownst to the three, they failed to notice a crow was in the chambers with red eyes and pinwheel eyes as it poofed in smoke, sending its memories back to Itachi as it eavesdropped the whole meeting, as the Yokai general will no doubt fly back to his queen and king to inform them. The next day. Chloe and Arigashaku-sama are currently with Shizune in private at the Now medical ward, since her and Haku are the only medics in the empire, since Tanaade is left in charge in Yuzu. Well, congratulations you two, you are both pregnant, Shizune said with a smile, as Chloe looked surprised, as happy tears were falling out of her eyes. Arigashaku-sama looked even happier that she and Chloe are both pregnant. With Naruto's kid no less. Arigashaku-sama smiled, putting her hand over her womb, and could feel life growing within her. She looked towards Chloe, who was in the same boat as her. Thank you, Shizune-san. Said Arigashaku-sama as she led Chloe out the room. Are we going to tell Naruto-kun, my lady? Chloe asked with a smile. She couldn't believe she is going to be a mother. Of course we are, why wouldn't we? We are the first two Dark Elves to be pregnant to restart our race, Arigashaku-sama said, smiling. I'm in fact happy for both of you. I just can't wait to see our children, commented Hachishaka-sama in Ariga's mindscape sitting on her throne of dead children. 9 months later, both Dark Elves will be giving birth. When they return back to Yuzu, they are going to find out what gender the babies are. They could not wait to tell their husband the news. South of Eostia. Maya, the former mercenary of now Princess Knight, is packing her things, grabbing her trusty sword, and get on her horse. She knew this was a suicide mission to go north of Eostia, to sneak into Ariga's dark fortress and to kill the Dark Elf Queen and avenge her former boss Volt. Without a word to her fellow Princess Knights, she didn't bother to at least leave them a note, knowing even if she succeeded in killing Ariga, she knows the chances she wouldn't make it back in one piece, but killing Ariga was all that mattered to her. She hoped her friends wouldn't chase after her. She took off on her horse, heading north, gone without a trace. Elsewhere. Kuryu is now sitting at a round table that was accompanied by a few others in this room, as he looked at each individual with a smirk. Thank you for coming, my friends. I have grave news for you all. Ariga Discordia had returned, he said with them now raising eyebrows. So the dark elf bitch finally stepped out hiding. Said a dark pink-haired woman named Aboro. Heh, about time she has, said a man who goes by Kike. The others remained silent, waiting for the mad scientist to speak. That's not all, Volt and his mercenaries are dead, Kuryu said with disgust. Oh? Volt-kun got himself killed by who? Asked Aboro. Who do you think? Ariga and a little boy, did the scientist replied, with others looking skeptical. Volt beaten by a kid? That's ridiculous. Told you the prick would fail you, Kiryu-san spoken, Kyle looking at the scientist glare at him. I don't really care, he was already failing me to begin with. Right now we have much more important matters that must be handled. Ariga has returned and is more powerful than before and has an army at her beck and call. She will become a threat to our plans. I myself will inform Volt's conspirators within the ranks of Celestine's Princess Knights to take at least one of the Princess Knights by force and hand them to us, Kuryu said, pushing up his glasses, hoping he could depend on them to do it. So what are we to do now, Kiryu-kun? Aboro asked, staring at him. This meeting is dismissed. I thought I should inform all of you to continue your plans on conquering our enemies and make them our whores, but also our top priority is to defeat Ariga and her forces, he said, narrowing his eyes. And what about the boy that bested Volt? Will he pose a threat to us? Questioned King Dorm, the Orc King. Simple, kill him or at least hold him prisoner until we figure out what to do with him. He honestly poses no threat to me. I don't see how Volt got careless being beaten by a brat, he said with a scowl and disgust, not even wanting to be reminded of Volt's humiliating defeat. But in his mind the boy was properly trained and yet beaten Volt. That boy could be turned over to their side if only Kuryu could persuade the brat to overthrow Riga and join him, but he will put that plan on hold until otherwise. He and his legion of sex villains will succeed and no one will get in his way. They will conquer their enemies, turning them into sluts, and will rule all. You two are pregnant, said a surprised Naruto looking at both of his dark elf wives, as it was just him and them in the throne room alone. Both wives nodded with happy smiles on their faces, as he himself even smiled, looking towards Chloe, then towards Arigashaku-sama. Yes, we are, Naru-kun. We thought we'd tell you, said Arigashaku-sama with a smile never leaving her face, as Chloe hugged her husband and started kissing him as he returned the kiss to her. Love you, Naruto-kun. Chloe said with Naruto caressing her face. I love both you and Arigashaku-sama, Chloe-chan, Naruto said with a big smile, with Arigashaku-sama smiling. The three were interrupted when they heard a caw. Turning their heads they saw Itachi and his crow form come beside them as he shifted back into a human. What have you learned about Itachi? His queen asked, seeing him bow on one knee. It seems the Celestine is quite aware of your return and has many allies to help stop you. He said, seeing Arigashaku-sama has a blank face. She wasn't too surprised that Celestine would try to get help to try and stop her. Like that was ever going to happen, because Arigashaku-sama is way out of their league and Celestine and her alliance can't expect that she would lose to them. I don't fear Celestine and her allies, they will all become our prisoners and prime candidates as dark elves and will be married to Narukun and maybe you Itachi since you've been very loyal to us and you could start a new generation of the Uchiha clan. Arigashaku-sama said looking towards her Yakai general who nodded as he continued to tell her who are all of Celestine's allies. So some elves are in her alliance and they can be useful to our growing population of dark elves in Yuzu and our empire Arigashaku-sama said casually. When do we go south and start our invasion Arigashaku-chan? Naruto now spoke in seeing his 8-foot dark elf wife stroke her chin. We will only invade one kingdom at a time so we will start with Alicia and Prim's country first, then we focus on the other princess knights, but we also have to save them from Volt's conspirators who happens to be spies in their ranks, we expose them and kill them on sight. Arigashaku-sama stroked her long hair. You are dismissed Itachi, thank you for informing us we will inform everyone else about what you learned she said now walking away. Where are you going Arigashaku-chan? Naruto asked. I'm going to my fortress catacombs to find the black soul gem that contains the soul of a dark elf. I will be back she said now walking off leaving Chloe, Naruto, and Itachi. With Maya. Now on the border of Ariga's dark fortress she grabbed her telescope and looked and seeing the fortress in view zoomed in, she saw the gates had guards by it, looked like tall black-clad figures with katana swords frowning, it seems those are Ariga's new troops, they are only two standing by the gate on guard, she wondered how could she get in without attracting attention she has to get in. And avenge her former boss. With a look of determination she disguised herself with a black robe and hood and got on her horse to head to the fortress of Ariga. Dark Fortress. Naruto has given everyone the heads up while Arigashaku-sama went to the catacombs to find the black soul gem as Chloe was beside him on the throne after he told them he dismissed them until they are informed of their upcoming invasion. Arigashaku has returned and is holding a black glowing soul gem as it brightens a purple light. Now that we found the two ingredients, I will return to Yuzu to have the pit ready, leaving Naruto in charge of things I trust he will lead the first invasion, Arigashaku-sama said with Naruto looking surprised. Before the Dark Elf fusion could say anything the throne room doors opened revealing Reptile holding an apprehended Maya. Arigashaku, Chloe, Itachi and Naruto turned towards Reptile, seeing him hold a woman. What is this Reptile? Questioned Arigashaku-sama. The intruder, your majesty, I saw her get past the samurai Khan after she defeated them. He said, as he made her get on her knees looking up in shock at how tall Ariga was, Maya couldn't believe her eyes. Thank you Reptile, leave us we will take care of her Arigashaku-sama said glaring at the woman as he bowed and walked away. State your business intruder Arigashaku-sama said seeing Itachi step towards her side. Your majesty, I've seen this woman with Celestine's princess knights. He started making her eyes widened, then a dark smirk appeared on her face, Maya looked horrified that the man knew of their plans. Well isn't this a surprise I'd never thought a lion princess knight would come here alone. Now state your reasoning for why you're here. Demanded Arigashaku towering over Maya who had a look of defiance on her face. I've come to kill you to avenge Volt-sama. Maya spoke with Arigashaku-sama now laughing. Ho. Kill. Oh you are so priceless. I am eternal, I cannot be killed by no one. And Volt was your former boss. You came all this way to kill me and avenge your boss Arigashaku said glancing down at Maya who scowled. You killed him you bitch. You killed off the whole Black Dog gang. Maya spat making Arigashaku have a cruel smile. Oh Volt is not dead, he is given a new fate worse than death, or should I say she Arigashaku said darkly making Maya frown in confusion. What are you talking about? Demanded Maya. Perhaps we should show her what I mean, Arigashaku-sama said with Chloe, Naruto, and Itachi nodding. In the dungeons. Unable to look anymore Maya turned towards Arigashaku, Chloe, Naruto, and Itachi. What the hell have you done to him? She yelled in horror. We've turned him into a bitch said Naruto staring at Maya who glared at him. Stop this. Stop. She said not wanting to look at her former boss who's been reduced as a whore. No, cause he's brought this on himself, he's going to remain a bitch in heat until the day he dies. We looked at his records and plans, he had disgusting plans for you and every woman in our country creating a sex empire, he even included you in his empire to have you raped against your will, as a sex toy, and slave Arigashaku-sama spoke coldly with Maya looking shocked. But didn't want to believe it. No, you're wrong. Volt would never do that to me. She denied it she didn't want to believe it. You might as well believe it, he has raped lots of women and ruined their lives, he intended to do the same with you, along with your band of princess knights to extent even me, and Chloe Arigashaku-sama countered. You should be grateful that my husband Naruto saved pretty much every woman here from that bastard. Cause if it weren't for us returning this country would have been conquered by Volt much sooner making every woman regardless of their age reduced as sex slaves to please men and monsters alike. Arigashaku said with a little heat in her voice, with Maya looking away, conflicted that her own boss would stoop this low on women. "What are we going to do with her, my lady?" asked Chloe, glaring at Maya. "She's coming back to Yuzu with me. I've already decided her fate since she's the first princess knight to fall prey to us," Arigashaku-sama said, grabbing Maya and opening a portal that leads back to Yuzu. "Naruto, you're in charge of things until I get back. Good luck on your first invasion," Arigashaku-sama said, summoning the bone of a dark elf and black soul gem. "Move, humans," shouted Arigashaku-sama, with Maya doing what she said since she can't do anything with her hands cuffed as she was shoved in the portal. Before she went inside her portal, she blew a kiss at Naruto. Naruto now has a look of determination since he was in charge of things now until his wife returns. "What are your commands?" Naruto-kun said Itachi towards his former student. "Today we rest, tomorrow we start our invasion on the First Kingdom, my wife suggested," he said, with Chloe at his side holding his hand. As they left the dungeons, leaving the now broken vault alone with the many orcs and orges who are still raping her. Thanks for watching my video, and make sure to check out the author of this fanfic, link is in the description. See you next time, till then, sayonara.